And here we are. We're at the 2023 NCTTA Championships. This is the women's team final. This is the number 2 seeds that are coming up here. And so we have UCLA versus Texas Wesleyan. I'm here with Joe Wells, and I'm Willie Leparulo. We have Rachel Sung and Wu Se-ying. So what we're seeing here is an interesting style here. And Wu Se-ying is, as you can tell, a little bit of a beginner player here. And so strategy here a lot of the times here for some of the teams is to put maybe a not so skilled player and as a beginner essentially at a higher number in terms of what's called strategy here in NCTTA. And so Wu Se-ying has been training with the team, and she's just started playing this year. And so she gets a real treat here because she gets to go to the national championships and compete here at the biggest stage. Joe, I've always been curious about that in terms of big stage competition like this. Do you think the less experienced player has nerves, or what do you think about that?
So I want to say that ultimately there's some tangible and intangible nerves that are happening for an inexperienced player having to play at this level on this stage. The tangible things are for her to think about that she's on center stage for the world to see. For a lot of people here, she's going to be in a very tight, a match with someone that's probably at a much higher level. And then so those are some obvious things that stand out where nerves might come into play, but they really shouldn't, because she knows, like, the reality sets in that she's obviously a lesser of experienced player. So she really has nothing to worry about. There's no expectation probably from her or from her team other than the fact that she helped them get here and that she's participating, right? So on the flip side of that, for Rachel and UCLA, not only were they were going to be able to get, a W depending on if Rachel was healthy. Rachel, unfortunately, is battling some shoulder issues that she experienced throughout this weekend. We saw it yesterday early in matches. She got some treatments, and it looks like she's playing a little bit better. But we also noticed that there was some tingling feelings that she had been kind of not favoring it. So the fact that she's going to be able to play against the lesser player is an advantage UCLA, because had this been a more highly contested match with a much stronger player, then there's a good chance that UCLA could have lost this one. I saw her towards the end of the fifth and deciding doubles in Coed, and she was touching the shoulder and feeling it, et cetera, et cetera. So it's one of those things that, they're still in a position to possibly win a national championship, even with an injured player.
Makes sense. This is the kind of stuff we see here in NCTTA. Again, strategy that's being imposed, I would say, along those lines. So it looks like, again, we're guessing along those lines. The Texas Wesleyan women's team is pretty strong at 1, 3, and 4. And they put a lesser experienced person number 2 sort of as a strategy. It's a little interesting. And in NCTTA, you can place people in any kind of position, essentially, right? And it's an interesting point. A lot of people use sort of a sacrifice position. Sometimes they do not number 1. Most of the time you'll see number 2. It's kind of nice when your sacrifice wins. So that does happen from time to time as well.
So really, to put it a little bit more gently, use the word sacrifice. It is a strategy, even with teams that have rosters that are full of solid, experienced players up and down the lineup. They do it for positioning where they feel like they can get their guaranteed wins, and then they're also positioning players where they feel like they could potentially steal a win and either not have to go to doubles or eventually go to doubles with the right pairing in the doubles lineup. So there is strategy even if the player, even if there's a roster not fully as deep as, for example, Texas Wesleyan when it comes to their fourth player here, Zhiying Wu. So again, with an injured player, UCLA at this point looks like they should have a slight advantage because they're going to get on the board first very quickly. So they're out to a 1-0 lead. Like there's no, sugarcoating this. We're looking at the reality of what we're seeing here on table number 2. So then after that, and then it will get interesting because there's going to have to be some more pressure on some of the Wesleyan players. They're going to have to rely on the top 3 that they're bringing into the court, and then looking at, are they going to get to doubles, and how well will Rachel hold up for doubles with her shoulder. So we'll see what happens. But either way, it's going to be a pretty tight women's final, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as well. And back to this match, Rachel Chung has 8 game points here. She's up 10-2 in the second game after being up 1-0. That is a slam winner there from Rachel there. And so Rachel is now up 2-0. We play 3 out of 5 games here. So 11-2, 11-2. Doru George is the coach for Texas Wesleyan women. He's in the corner there, helping the Zhiying Wu basically with mechanics and so forth, and making sure that they're going to be able to make it through along those lines.
The great thing for Zhiying Wu is the fact that, again, she's here. She gets to experience this, but hopefully she can use this weekend as something to build off of, something to look forward to. She would take it into the off season and want to spend more time practicing or training over the summer. And I look forward to seeing her at the next championship if Wesleyan advances that far, to see how far she's grown from where she is to now.
So we're starting the third game. See what we're going to have here. right, we're back here. Rachel Sung is up 8-3. Best 3 out of 5 games here. A little bit of a miss hit there from Rachel. Point to Zhe-Ying Wu. A nice backhand down the line there from Rachel.
Yeah, and again for Rachel, you know, great sportsmanship from her, knowing that she's playing a lesser of an opponent. And for her, she really just wants to get off the table so that she can rest and get prepared possibly for doubles, but also so that she can start supporting her teammate, Amy, on table number 1. So I think that's kind of important for her right now, is that this is how she's going to help the team. Even if she's dealing with injury, she can be a big supporter, as we always like to say, loud and proud in the corner.
All right, that's it, folks. UCLA has taken the first point. Rachel Sung has a 3-0 win against Zhe-Ying Wu of Texas Wesleyan. We're going to showcase here, looks like number 1, 2, 3, potentially 3 or 4 singles that will come up. But we'll be back here in a moment once that comes about. So UCLA up 1-0 for the time being. Folks, if you're tuned in here, we are going to be moving this match. It's Joanna Sung versus Lin Jiaqi. We're going to be moving that match to table 1. Score is currently 1-0 for UCLA. This is the 2023 NCTTA College Table Tennis Championships. We're here live in Round Rock, sport capital of the world. We're here at the Round Rock Sports Center. If you're in or around the Austin, Georgetown, Round Rock area, please come on by. We've got a full gym of college table tennis. Table 1 is where the action looks to be happening at this point. Amy Wong of UCLA is up 2-0 on Jen Deng from Texas Wesleyan University, 2 #1 seeds. And we were going to have Joanna Sung and Lin Jiaqi on this table. We have moved them so that more fans can take part and understand and see the quality of table tennis that is from women's college table tennis here at the NCTTAs. Just a good thanks to our sponsors, DHS, Major League Table Tennis, Pong Space, Go Round Rock CVB. I would tune in to table 1 of the NCTTA YouTube. We're also streaming live on Facebook as well. So check us out there. We'll be there shortly. Thanks. Welcome back to the 2023 College Table Tennis Championships. I'm Willie Leparula. I'm here in the booth with Joe Wells. And so we've got an interesting match here. This is number 4 singles, Angie Tan of UCLA and Texas Wesleyan, Sophia
Skipanovic.
Thank you, Joe, with the pronunciation. So, Joe, I know you've seen these players play. What do you expect to see here?
So we did get an opportunity to see Angie play. Unfortunately, I have not had a chance to see Sophia play. I'm imagining that Angie is going to establish attack, drive first on the forehand side. Sophia is going to do her best to try to neutralize that. I'm hoping by playing a shorter style play and then take her opportunities. What I've seen throughout the weekend is that the player that's, under a lot of pressure to keep the ball short ends up playing just the point too tight, ends up really just falling a hair short than where they want to be, and that means it's clipping the top of the net. Also, depending on Angie's selection of serve, I would probably, if she wants to get into a quick speed up rally game, she's going to start with long serves into the backhand or long serves into the body, and then kind of establish her point from there, whether or not she wants to do third ball attack or whatever the case is. So that's ultimately where we should begin. But I really think that a lot of this is going to come down to how well Sophia responds to the quick off-the-bounce attack on both sides from Angie Tan.
Yeah, that's an excellent summary of that. And Sophia, she plays with Texas Wesleyan. She's in the South region in the Texas division, and Angie's out of the West region and plays in one of our Southern California. So they've, in theory, never faced each other. But here we go. We can see what happens. 0-0.
Yeah, and I like what I saw there from Sophia, recognizing that's a long ball, just like we talked about pre-match, is that she's going to start with the long serve and try to get into a quick rally exchange. There was a great variation where she opened up with mid-distance underspin serve. She got a push back that was definitely one bounce long, and she was able to take the backhand and deposit it back cross court.
So it's interesting. Both of these players have more than just domestic experience. Angie is a U.S.-based player, and Sophia is from the national team in Serbia. And so, again, their level of table tennis is very high here, and certainly we're going to be able to see some really, really great shots along those lines. But, I'm always curious about the different kinds of styles. Right, American style versus Serbian style. Any comments on that approach?
Yeah, so I mean, you could look at it based on the different countries that they represent, what you see traditionally from those countries. But I think what's happening nowadays is that a lot of people, regardless of what country they're in, they're going to coach with whatever the present day or current dominant style is, unless you take a unique approach and you want to give your young junior player something different, something dynamic that's away from the norm, so that when they do face all the other conventional players that are ultimately doing the same thing, they kind of have a bit of an advantage. It just depends on what's the weapon that they gave them. So ultimately, a lot of times on the women's side of things, it's very much so quick, long ball. Everything's a punch and a drive off the backhand side. And depending on their approach to the forehand, that's also a drive, a very big drive, or there's a long loop.
6-3 for Angie Tan right now. And there's that punch you were talking about there on the backhand side from Angie Tan. She takes looks like a 7-3 lead here.
Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, on that backhand side, it's not a loop. It's a straight drive back into your opponent, and it's really good for not allowing your opponent time to reset for their loop or their counter if they have one. So I'm imagining that Sophia does not want to get into that kind of exchange with Angie Tan of UCLA. And now we saw a great job there in that rally exchange. Angie Tan didn't overhit, and she moved the ball side to side just to see how Sophia was going to react. And Sophia, unfortunately, just carried that last ball long, but that was a really good point by both players.
Angie Tan up 9-4 here in the first game. We got 10-4 as well, so she's got 6 game points here.
And again, remember, there's a certain level of pressure for Sofia Skapanovic to have her own level of attack, whether she wants to start it early versus waiting until the point gets too fast. So that's why I definitely respect or appreciate her willing to step in and take the ball short and flip over the table. Unfortunately, she didn't execute it, but it was the right idea.
Exactly. So they're going off to their own respective corners, and always love talking about the coaches that we have here. UCLA is coached by one of their other players, Doru George from the Texas Wesleyan. He's handling 2 tables right now. A table we're currently streaming on, and the one next to us, which seems to be a pretty good fight there between UCLA and Texas Wesleyan. But at this point right now in the match, UCLA is up 1-0. 2-0, excuse me. And one more will do it for UCLA. So Texas Wesleyan looking to get 2 back here real quick. Here we go, game 2.
And now I like this strategy here coming straight out of the game timeout. Sofia Skapanovic is trying to impart her own backhand drive early, and she was able to execute that point. I'm imagining we're going to see a little bit more of that in game number 2.
Interesting, a lot of spin there, a lot of forehand spin. Caught Angie Tan a little bit by surprise. I'm not sure that that's going to happen more than once or twice.
Well, the one good thing about it is Skapanovic with a beautiful chop block there on the forehand side. That was so crafty. And then she follows it up with a drive down the line. Skapanovic is going to give her the short underspin serve that then Tan is going to have to push back up. She wants to open up with sop loop to start getting the ball up, and then imparts the drive, typically off the backhand side. A very quick punch straight off the bounce. So Stefanovic out to a great start in game number 2.
So interesting to me here is that it's all about styles, and so we had a lot of people asking, well, what are the ratings differences, right? And so there are pretty big rating differences here. Angie's 2360 and Sophia's at 1950. But you know, the curiousness of me is that at this level, forehands, backhands, it's maybe about decision making and speed. What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
Well, decision making and speed, but in some of those semifinals that we saw earlier in the Coed matches, particularly in the Texas Wesleyan match with Montez Solarte, a very high-level player, but he wasn't the one being the aggressor throughout the match. He actually controlled the match, had some very good rallies and points, but he never overplayed with what his ability was. He stayed within the points. He made sure he got the ball back in play again. He didn't open up until he had his own opportunity. So yes, the speed and the spin, there's a difference at the higher level compared to the lower level players. But once we're talking about, once we get to the semifinals and the finals of a lot of these rounds, is that the speed and the spin, typically a lot of the athletes handle very well. It's a matter of execution once you get to that point. They know what to do. It's just a matter of, hey, am I going to get the opportunity to do it, or am I going to create my own chances to execute the right shots?
Makes sense. Sophia up 6-4. There's a nice backhand block down the line. Looks like Angie caught Sophia a little bit late on that one.
Well, it was also a redirect of the backhand. I mean, it was cross-court to cross-court. Ball came into her backhand, and then she moved it out wide to Skapanovic's forehand. And again, just some amazing reaction for Angie Tan to transition and notice that the ball went from drive to soft top, and she had to quickly catch the ball off the bounce, and she deposited it back cross court. So that was amazing.
Tied up 6-6, second game. Looks like she rushed that shot a little bit, got a little too eager. Put her hand up as if it was a mistake. It looked like a pretty clean shot there. Maybe there was a little something we can't see here from where we are.
Hit the edge slightly, but it was a much the right shot to take. It was a beautiful backhand loop to the outside corner. And again, recognizing that the ball is coming back with soft top, she wants to catch it at its highest point as possible. That time she just missed it a little short, but she is playing so far right now. Angie Tan has the right game plan in place.
Tan is up 9-7 in the second. That's 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5 games, excuse me. Sophia to serve 7-9. I've seen her do this before in many other matches that we've commentating. That ball's even a little up. It's a flat smash coming. There's no, well, I've seen her counter loop, but in this case, I think her favorite shot is that flat smash. Well, Sophia has tied it up. It's 9-9. Some tight points here. Tana has the serve. That's that flat smash that she likes so often. Let me ask this question. So Sophia knows that flat smash is coming. Her opportunity is to keep it short in the middle of the table, correct?
Yeah, or she's just going to have to get her soft top deeper as best as she can. And that was a beautiful exchange there by the ladies. Angie Tan does win that last point there, but they did go forehand to forehand on the counter. So far, advantage Angie Tan. She's up now 2-0, and this the fourth singles. If Angie is able to win this match, she will secure the championships for UCLA Bruins. Texas Wesleyan is holding on as their number 2 singles player, Jiaqi Lin, leads 7-4 in game number 2, even though she trails 1-0 in the match.
Yeah, for those tuning in, there is table 1. If you want to tune into that as well. That's Texas Wesleyan's Lin Jiaqi and UCLA's Joanna Sung there, number 3 seed. Here we are in the third game here. Just for point of contention, so everybody knows, it's 4 singles and 1 double. Only goes to doubles if it's tied after singles. And there's a very lucky or unlucky edge, whichever way you put it on that. Sophia goes up 1-0. So the wins have to go in order, and so this is technically the number 4 singles. Even if UCLA wins this match, still to be an official match, number 3 singles must finish. And so again, if it's a little confusing, this is what we do here in NCTTA in terms of a team table tennis kind of style. It's unique along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, ideally the concept is all about the team. These matches have started. We will complete them. These athletes work really hard all year, Willie. They come from near and far. So for people not to be able to fully compete, finish matches, it's just not something that we like to do. So I wouldn't necessarily call it weird. I think it just makes us, what makes us unique and really what allows the athletes to want to be here.
Angie Tan up 3-2 in the third game here. Her to serve. And I like Sophia's attempt at a cheeky, what is that, chop block that you see there?
It's a forehand chop block, but it's not on the, she didn't pull it on the backside. She just cut across it at the top. It will ultimately impart more like soft side topspin. If she gets it, it doesn't cut off. Now Angie Tan leads 5-3 in game number 3. Looking to close out the championships for UCLA. Sofia Skepanovic is holding on into this match. They called timeout. It is crucial for Texas Wesleyan to get on the board as they trail 2-0 in this women's championship. Coming out of this timeout, Coach Doru Joye talking to Skepanovic, trying to settle her down, get her back into this match. She is down 3. Gets a point back there as Angie Tan misplays the backhand loop. Skepanovic to serve. She trails 4-7 in game number 3. And Angie Tan feeling like she has the room in the window to take the backhand cut off the return. Fortunately, sails a little long, but not a bad idea considering she did have a little bit of a cushion as far as her lead. Great adjustment there by Angie Tan as she was able to play the blocks and counter blocks, and there was one that she had to redirect as it came off the net, and it was just a little bit too fast of a point. It felt like Sofia pressed at the end there to overhit, and she sails the ball long. Again, beautiful point by Angie Tan. She plays quick off the bounce, drives on the forehand and backhand side from the corners, and it was just too much for Skepanovic. And even Angie Tan showing a little versatility there in her game as she plays a forehand chop down up the line. And there you have it. Angie Tan wins 11-6 in the third. That puts UCLA up 3-0, and they secure the 2023 Women's Collegiate National Championship. Congratulations to the UCLA Bruins. Congratulations to the Texas Wesleyan women's team for advancing to the finals. It was a really good effort to get this far. They had a great run at it, but UCLA was just too strong, too deep this year, and they take home your 2023 Women's National Championships. I'm Joe Wells. This is day 2 of the 2023 National Championships. We'd like to thank our sponsors, DHS, Pong Space, Major League Table Tennis, NCTTA and all of its wonderful staff and volunteers, the City of Round Rock and Round Rock Sports Center. It's been an amazing event so far, but there you have it, UCLA 2023 Women's National Champions.
Wesleyan, Tomoike Eduardo, or Eduardo Tomoike, Lucas Ito, Jen Deng, Santiago Marquez Solarte. For NYU, Jeremy Hazen, Rudin Danny, Ruben Chen, Calvin Chan. Umpire Felipe Castaño and Richard Martin assisting. Go ahead and shake hands and get started. Our service judges are Ding Chen, Owen Lee, Leo Kai, and Barbara Davis.
Please, blue or white? White. White, blue. White. Service? I don't know. Come up on that. Danny, this side is okay?
You choose serve or you choose?
Yeah,
I serve, I serve.
Serve. Yes. Fine? Okay. 2 minutes. Wait. Thank you.
And here we go, folks. The co-ed teams finals of the 2023 Collegiate National Table Tennis Championships. I'm Joe Wells. Alongside me is Matt Hetherington. Matt, it's going to be fireworks here. It's Texas Wesleyan versus NYU. The defending national champions, NYU, has put out Jeremy Hazen at the #1 spot out on table #1. We've got Mudit Dani and the second singles out on table #2, facing Lucas Ito. Lucas performed very well in the semifinal round, had no problems getting through his match and just pushing Texas Wesleyan through. But it's going to be really, really interesting here. I know earlier that Mudit has played a lot of matches this weekend. NYU overall has played a lot of matches up until this point. They've had to go the distance all the way into doubles so far. So we're going to see if that has anything to do with it. We'd like to think that at this stage, you know, they're conditioned and ready for long days, a lot of matches. So if anything, there could be some mental fatigue possibly, but should be a really exciting match.
And of course, there's going to be a lot more atmosphere for this match. Most of the players have stopped playing in the hall so they can come here to watch the finals. And Lucas Ito, defensive player, definitely not afraid to attack. He got, in his last match in the semifinals, he played Priyan Jindal, got a lot of points, kind of free points off the serve. Not going to get away with that against a player like Mudit Dani. Mudit's got exceptional control against defense. Oh, and that's going to...
He also, I mean, a lot of that match with Jindal, some of it was mental, where Jindal was just kind of really in and out of the match at times, a lot of times showing frustration. I don't think that we're going to see that from Mudit Dini.
No.
Playing a lot of matches, very experienced player, NYU side, and he knows what's at stake, an opportunity to repeat as national champions. So those letdowns that you would see sometimes at a lower level, you're not going to see that in this match, and Lucas Ito is going to have to play at a really, really high level.
Yeah, Mudit's a player that's very stable. Very stable, good feeling. Very good at rolling through the ball. So playing against defense, it's not so much a problem area for him. And then if Ito turns on the attack, he's quite comfortable just controlling the ball back into the defensive placements on the table.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Just a great opening, being able to control the point. Didn't really try to go for too much on the first loop they started with, and then he just kind of starts to place the ball properly.
Yeah, and he has very good touch for the drop shots as well, so soft hands.
Yeah, and he
doesn't float the ball too high.
Doesn't seem like this opening of heavy pips is going to really bother him. He's playing very patient, maybe not following up with back-to-back forehands.
And this is when you know that tactically Danny has the upper hand here, if Lucas is having to try and attack full table forehand. Very patient. Good read on the spin. Eight game points to get things started here. Puts that one over the end.
Lucas Ito saves 2 match points here, but 10-4. Mudit Dini to serve to go up 1-0. Yeah, and just a really strong start from Mudit Dini. He controlled the points really from beginning to end, starting with the service return. He wasn't phased at all after his first loop came back. He would just open up the paddle, ease it back in, and very patient and wise to just say, hey, I'll start the rotation over again. We'll open up with a soft loop and we'll see what happens. And as soon as Lucas Ito tried to counter those balls, it was just really too heavy for him.
Yeah, and I think there have been a couple of opportunities. If Lucas is attacking the first ball, he knows that Mudit's not going to counter-attack. He's just going to block the ball for position. I think if Ito can connect better a little bit, he kind of starts the swing on the second ball a little bit late. So if he can shorten that down and step into the ball a bit more, maybe on a second forehand follow-up, he could have a little bit more impact.
Yeah, I did notice that he's just really not catching the ball higher.
Yeah,
really long take back, but doesn't explode there quickly. It's more of a hooking side spin than it is a forward aggressive top spin.
First point goes to Ito. Look at Danny with the backhand opening error.
Left hand.
Quick clarification there by. So see, this is going to come back to the issue that occurred in the semi-final of whether a warning is given or whether they're instantly faulted. And it went one each way in the semi-final, which was, so it seems that a precedent has been set here that there won't be any warnings. just be straight to faults. And Lucas Ito is going to get pumped up and try and build some confidence here.
Yeah, and not to say that he needs help, but it certainly does help when you facing off against someone like Mudit Denny and you're able to get a free point by, unfortunately, a service error, if you will.
That was kind of a disaster waiting to happen for Mudit Denny. He just took everything off the ball, and not quite sure what the end game was there. This time, put some effort into that ball. Notable to see that he has also opted to start serving backhand. Doesn't want to risk being faulted again.
I don't know if it'll last long. We'll see what happens. I think that when we saw Montez Solarte go that route, he recognized that his opponent struggled with the return of serve of the same serve, so we'll see.
You can see Ito has quite a strong connection with the rest of the team who are on the left of the screen. Really looks for support from.
I've always wondered about the emotional up and downs at this stage so early in the match, you know, with that much energy towards winning, you know, every single point. It's something that I think it's based off of, you know, that individual's personality, how much they can handle that. I mean, just like Harimoto, people question the energy that Harimoto uses in a celebration after every point. And whether or not that's a factor or not. And I see Lucas Ito doing something very similar.
Honestly, I think there's quite a big correlation between how much and how confident he is on attack. It's really not typical to see a defensive player get this pumped up, because you have to stay still relaxed. But seems to work for him. He's maintaining this 3-point lead here in the second game. I think Mudit Denny's kind of taking his foot off the pedal a little bit. And also, we're definitely seeing Mudit allow Ito to attack a lot more. And I think now that he's built that confidence, and now that his attacking has a little bit more bite, like a little bit more sting to it, it's a danger zone for Mudit. He's switching back to the forehand serve now. Clears the hand pretty clearly there.
These are the points that we saw in the first game that got him the first game. He hasn't played that over the past 5 or 6 points really, but now we're going back to it, seeing exactly what he really wants to do. I think, again, the past few points were really passive and didn't do a whole lot with the ball, as you mentioned.
But I mean, you run the risk. You run the risk of lulling yourself into like a B game mode, and you know, stuff like this happens. There's more unforced errors, and he's got to be careful he doesn't switch off. Great retrieve. What a finish! Just worked the table there.
Just an amazing backhand there from Mudit Denny.
That went straight down.
And sometimes you really, technically, when you have a ball with so much topspin, you have to close that racket head even more to compensate for how much spin it is, and sometimes it ends up being an edge ball.
Overplays on that ball. Lucas Ito is going to have 2 game points. This is really not a situation that Mudit Denny wanted to be in for sure. Ito's just gone from strength to strength and kind of maintained this 2 to 3 point buffer throughout the second game. he'll take game 2.
Yeah, and he did, but he had to work really hard to take game 2. I felt like actually it could have gone the other way because, I mean, I felt like Mudit gave away probably halfway through that match. He definitely gave Lucas Ito a lot of lollipop balls. Didn't have very much on it and allowed him to build some momentum that he carried into the end of the game. I think it could have been tighter and a whole lot closer, but hopefully Mudit Denny comes out of this game break with that same energy and same game plan they had in game number 1. I don't think he has to change up a whole lot. He just has to go back to doing what got him the first game.
Yeah, and he has to recognize that playing softer is what helped change, what helped shift things, because Lucas Ito in the first game was not able to connect those powerful forehands. He was trying to, but he wasn't able to make them. Mudit's given him more time, and the time has helped him position, and the more of those big shots he's hit, the more his confidence grows. So he really needs to lock down the attacking side of Ito's game.
That time you saw Lucas trying to work the corners on the forehand.
That was really brilliant wide angle from Mudit Denny. Surprised Ito managed to get that back on. But again, Mudit Denny very steady, even with such difficult shots in front of him. Very steady hands, steady nerves.
I mean, that was a super impressive off the table chop that Ito pulled off there, and Denny was able to just kind of position the ball back in the right spot.
Pressure is mounting back. This really only takes a small handful of points in a table tennis game to shift things back the other way.
Right idea there for Danny. He just wasn't in the right position to take the ball off the bounce, but it definitely was the right shot in theory.
Great defending. Seeing some of these forehand loops against the chop now from Mudit. He's a little bit tight in the shoulder. And you'll notice that the ones he makes unforced errors, he's pulling from above the ball instead of pushing from below it.
And another top spin, just carried a little long. Denny needs to settle down here before this third game gets away from him. He started off really strong. It looked like he was going back to executing the game plan from game number 1, and now he's had a bunch of errant forehands.
I mean, he just needs to hit through the ball more. I feel like he's been much more tentative on his loops. He's not really playing through the ball. He's just kind of rolling the ball up. But, you know, when you play a match like this, and someone like Lucas, they're going to chop some. They're going to fish some with their forehand. They're going to loop some. They're going to attack some strong. There's a lot of different variations. But in a lot of these points where Mudit Denny's losing against like a push or a chop, that kind of thing just grinds your confidence down. And It's doubt. It's basically doubt. It's when you realize that you've put yourself in a very difficult position against somebody that you feel confidently. When you feel the style matchup should be in your favor. But they just make you doubt your shots, doubt your positioning. It's like small hesitations and
yeah,
lack
ultimately
of
you just
commitment.
kind of feel like you don't want to give away points by playing the wrong shot, because again, there is so much to contend with when you're talking about the pips or defensive players. Really, footwork is really key when you're playing that ball, because it is, even though it's not spinning, there is movement of some sort, and you have to get your feet in the right position to execute the shot. And I love Mudit's patience with that. He didn't rush. I did want to see him again establish forehand at some point, but at least he didn't rush the point.
Just off the side. Move it Danny back in control a little bit here.
Lucas Ito, 7-9 to serve in the third game. Looks like there could have been a sweat water spot on the rubber that was noticeable there. Players go to the towels and they're back on the table. 7-9, game 3. And that time Mudit decided to go ahead and take the ball a little earlier. Instead of looping it, he flattens it out at a very high point, and I think that didn't give Ito any time to really impart the heavy chop that he wanted.
Good move by Ito. Bring that ball back.
Just an insane reaction there from Ito to stay in that point. Surely you thought Mudit Dani was going to win that point on the smash. There you have it. Mudit Dani takes game number 3 with a lot of ebbs and flows, ups and downs throughout that game, but he was able to kind of get his confidence back towards the end, start going back to the forehands versus the passive soft tops that got him in trouble in game number 2. Mudit Dani coming out of the game break very early. Looks like there wasn't a whole lot that he and Coach Gal needed to go over. Coach Doru Jorge, Texas Wesleyan. Something that they wanted to go over, something that they needed to talk about. Hopefully settling Lucas in to focus. Right back to it.
Yeah, more commitment on the forehand is what's needed here from Mudit.
And that's a lot of work for Lucas Ito, as low as he is on the table, to have to hit one loop, recoil to hit another loop, and then get back down that low because he's not taking the ball at a higher point. He's waiting as the ball is dropping more. That's where he's catching it at. And Mudit Dani just standing in there patiently, just kind of blocking it back to see how many of those forehands can Lucas Ito consecutively hit. And eventually he will take one long or try to overcook with the topspin and ends up hitting in the bottom of the net. So far, it looks like Denis is off to a great start. Matt, we noticed that he's also looping a little bit more off the backhand side to try to not give Lucas Ito the chance to open up off of his push.
Yeah, and that typically shows you a pattern of more confidence. The majority of players against defense, they will go after the ball with their forehand. But when you see the confidence loss, you'll definitely start to see them pushing with the backhand more, and we did from Mudit before. So seeing a backhand loop every now and then is a good sign that he's kind of coming back. The last point before the timeout for me really felt like it was tactically not so great from both players. I mean, both of them, they just hit back and forth to the same place. It's a risky play for Mudit to block 3 balls to the same spot in the middle of the table. Lucas had an opportunity to hit the ball somewhere else or to hit harder, but didn't capitalize on that. So Mudit Danny's getting away here a little bit.
Then again, Mudit Denny takes forehand down the line, forehand to forehand. Lucas Ito misconnects with that ball, sails it long. Mudit Denny has built up a nice, comfortable lead here in the 4th game.
I think that's really the ball that he struggles with the most, is when he hits the ball with a little more power and then it's chopped back a little bit quicker and a little bit heavier. He's not able to finish against those shots. But he leads here 5-1. We've really seen his forehand against the chop has kind of gone from like 40 to 50% to 70. It's making a huge difference already. But he's got to stay on top of Ito here.
Yeah, and you don't really get a lot of those missed pushes long from Ito, so a gift to Mudit Dani there as he leads 6-2 in game number 4. And another misread, now this time on the serve.
Yes, that for me is just bad preparation. Still kind of standing upright, no commitment with the legs. Just got to be careful not to be too tentative, and it's the same again. So just, you know, he's letting the ball get behind him or close to his body. He's got to move. He's got to get in position. He can't just let shots like that get by him.
And again, some of these pushes, unfortunately, just getting away from Lucas Ito. And it's like you mentioned, Mudit Dani at some point playing a little lethargic. If it becomes a pattern, it's hard to pick yourself up out of that. But he was gifted a point there. He still has a 4-point lead here, 8-4 in game number 4.
Getting himself pumped up now.
And Lucas Ito is going to have to draw on that same energy that he uses to win a point. He needs to kind of use some same energy to pick himself back up to get back into this game.
Taking his time to just walk that off. Sets up 5 match points. Opportunity here for NYU to go up 2-0 in this team tie. Jeremy Hazen having won his game. A little bit too early on the timing. And he'll take it.
There
And
it is.
defending champions NYU will take a 2-0 lead. That's a very significant for them in this team tie. Mudit Dani winning 3 games to 1 finding his feet there when it was most important. I think second game he really dipped out of the match, and it kind of, you know, those errors crept in and Ito's confidence grew, and sometimes it can be difficult to come back from, but Mudit just kind of settled in. And
yeah, and even in, I want to say the third game, there was moments where Mudit Dani could have lost that game as well because he had some lulls in the
yeah,
points.
absolutely. Yeah.
So it could have really been 2-1 Lucas Ito going into that fourth game, but Lucas just not able to build enough momentum, particularly on the forehand side. And then the last game, we probably saw 4 or 5 pushes that he just let it get away from him, either with spin or he pushed him too long. So congratulations to Mudit Dani as he takes the second singles. That gives NYU a 2-0 lead here in this co-ed championship event. Up next on table number 1, it's going to be Jin Ding versus Ruben Chen. And on table number 2, Santiago Montes Solarte versus Calvin Chan. Again, this is day number 2 of the 2023 Collegiate National Table Tennis Championships. I'm Joe Wells, and alongside me is Matt Hetherington. Sit back, relax, we'll be right back.